What's up everyone? My name is Matt, also known as the Survivor Guy, and today we're going to be building and testing Survivor's Rollerball Challenge. So for those of you who aren't aware, Rollerball is the name given to the challenge where you stand on a balance beam, hold a giant wooden disc, and then start by placing one ball on it, and then after a certain amount of time, usually 5 minutes, you add a second one, and then after a certain amount of time, you add a third one, and you just have to balance it there until your balls fall or you're the last person standing. There are a couple different variations on this one where sometimes you have to hold it up and stuff like that. For the purposes of this video, we're just going to be doing the original standard version, balance beam, wooden disc, and balls. So if I want to build this myself with stuff that I have around my apartment, I'm going to need three things. First, I'm going to need the balance beam, then I'm going to need the wooden disc, and finally I'm going to need the balls. Let's start with the disc. That seems like the easiest thing to replicate. So my first instinct was, why don't I just use a plate, right? Grab a plate, plates are round, kind of disc-like, that'd be perfect. Problem with that is, plates are not perfectly flat. If I were to try and hold it like this, well, I've got this giant lip here that's going to keep the ball in, which is kind of an unfair advantage in a challenge where the entire point is to not have anything fall off the side. Even if I flip it upside down, we've got a lip here. So that's not going to work. So I started thinking, alright, if the plate's not good, I need something perfectly flat. What do I have that's round and perfectly flat? Nothing. But that doesn't mean that I can't make something that's round and perfectly flat. This apartment that I'm currently living in, I just moved into a few months ago, and I still saved a whole bunch of boxes from moving, for the purposes of moving out when my lease is up in a year if I choose not to renew. So what if I took this plate, traced a circle into that cardboard box, and then cut out my wooden, in quotes, disc from that cardboard box. So now I have something that's perfectly flat and is perfectly circular and is roughly the same size as what you see on the challenge in Survivor. Alright, so now we have one thing taken care of, right? I've got my wooden disc. Well, now I need the balls that balance on top of the wooden disc. If we look at the balls we see in Survivor, my first instinct was those look just like pool balls. And then I was like, well, I don't have a pool table or pool balls, and also if I'm using a cardboard disc, pool balls are probably way too heavy. So that kind of goes out the window. But what I do have is ping pong balls. It's worth noting here, I don't have a ping pong table, but I graduated college a few years ago, so I've got a plethora of ping pong balls. You can figure out why. Ping pong balls are a bit smaller than what we see on Survivor, but so is the cardboard disc that I cut out. Obviously it's not going to be exact, but it's good enough. And another advantage of the ping pong balls is they're lightweight, so we don't have to worry about the cardboard bending or breaking or anything like that. Alright, so I've got my disc, I've got my balls, so there's one more component that I need, and that is the balance beam. Now the balance beam is the one that gave me the most difficulty, because I don't really have anything in my apartment that's thin enough that it makes me balance to stand on it that also won't break under my weight. So after looking around and thinking for several days, eventually I resorted to, alright, I'll make a run to Home Depot, I'll get just a plank of wood and put 2 chairs out and balance that on the chairs, and that'll be my balance beam. Typically with these challenges, I don't like buying stuff because the whole point is to make the challenge from things that you have around the apartment. But I couldn't think of any other way to get a balance beam. I'm like, know what? It's a few bucks. Might as well go out and buy it. But as I was on my way out the door, literally 30 seconds before I went out to go buy this piece of wood, I realized I don't need to buy anything. You see, my apartment has a little patio area and there's a sliding glass door. And one of the first things that I noticed when I moved in is there's no lock on that door. So anyone can just walk up and open our sliding glass door, which is a bit concerning. I'm sure the apartment complex that I'm in realized this as well, because I went to open that door after realizing there was no lock and I couldn't. I'm like, huh? And then I look down and I see there's a plank of wood blocking the sliding glass door from opening. So the exact thing I was about to go out and buy to make a balance beam out of, I actually already had in my apartment. I just forgot that I had it. So I risked someone walking in through my patio door for the duration of practicing this challenge, but I had my balance beam, so all 3 components are now ready to go. So now that I have my balance beam, my disc, and the balls to put on it, I think it's about time that we give this challenge a try and see if there's anything that I can learn from practicing a little bit. Alright, so, Jesus, hard to balance on. Alright, so we're here, we're up on my balance beam. I got my disc, I got my balls in here, and before we start this, now seems like as good as time as any to tell you, don't try this at home. Make sure you put pillows around and you're in a wide open space. In case you fall off the balance beam, you don't hit your head and crack your skull open. This is a bad idea, but I'm doing it. So I'm gonna grab my first ball. I'm gonna try it with one ball for 5 minutes and then add another. And we'll see how far we get because I'm already shaking uncontrollably. This is a very precarious balance beam I've made for myself here. So, survivor's ready. Jesus Christ. Why am I doing this? Alright, go. Okay, so one ball. I've already got a ton of movement, but so far, so good. Balance is not my strong suit, so I'm well aware of the fact that this type of challenge on Survivor is not one that I'm probably going to win. But as long as I'm not the first person out, then I can live with that. That'd be very embarrassing. You know how in balance challenges there's always one person that gets out like within 30 seconds? I don't want to be that guy. So, I should probably stop talking. Jeff's always the one who's like, you gotta focus. If you lose your focus for 1 second, you're done. So, I'll probably do the fast forward thing until I either drop or have to add my second ball. Matt with a great recovery. That's what Jeff would say if he saw that. I think the hardest part for me is not necessarily the ball on the disc, it's balancing on this wooden beam. I mean, to be fair, the chairs that I'm using to balance it on are a little bumpy, so it's not like it's completely flat like it would be, which makes it harder. So maybe next time I do something with a balance beam, I'll try and find a better way to rig it up. But for now, this is what I'm working with, so just gotta dig deep and get it done. Gotta say, this is a lot easier when I'm not trying to make commentary for YouTube purposes. Alright, so that's 5 minutes.
All right, we're going to add another ball. That means you can put your hand on the ball on your disc. You are safe.
I think in this challenge you can usually grab it and then add your second and go again. So that's how I'm going to choose to do it. All right, so now we got 2 balls. Let's see if I can last the 5 minutes. 5 minutes is a lot longer than it seems when you're up here. Like on the show, people drop out at the 5-minute mark and you're like, really? That's it? But I feel like I've been up here for 5 years. No. See, this is the, okay, I brought it back. That's the precarious situation when you have 2 balls going opposite directions. It's like, how are you supposed to correct for that? And I think the key is just not doing anything too drastic, like trying to talk for a YouTube video. Well, you should be focusing on the challenge. Nope. I don't know if you can pick it up on the camera, but my right hand is starting to shake, so the entire disc is just shaking. Oh, my timer. I had the timer up on my computer over there and the monitor just went to sleep. Ooh. Alright, well, I had 2 minutes left when it went to sleep, so I'll just try my best. No. My leg's on fire right now. I have my shoes. Before I have feet. Anything to say? Alright, so I said my timer went down earlier because the monitor went to sleep, so I don't know if it's been 5 minutes. I don't know if I'm over, or if I'm under, or if my sense of time is spot on, which I doubt. But I'm just going to say that was 5 minutes. Whoa. Alright, so I've reset my timer. I've got my 3 balls here. So we're going to do until I drop. So this is where it gets real. This is the part of the challenge where the weak have been dropped out already, and now you go until you can't go anymore. Go. Alright, well, hopefully that was a respectable time. I'm getting down from here. Oh, man. So I made it through the first 2 rounds with 1 ball and 2 balls, which is better than I was expecting. But 2 minutes and 40 seconds in the 3rd round, not great. Not breaking any records with that one. So takeaways. First, and probably most important, the balancing on the beam is actually a lot harder than balancing the balls on the disc. I think a lot of the problems that you encounter as far as keeping the balls on the discs starts with making sure you're balanced properly on the beam. There was a lot of like little movement with the balls. The only times that I had big movement with the balls is when I was kind of teetering on the balance beam a little bit, right? Because your body's balanced like this, your hand is balanced like this. Well, if your body starts moving, your hand is also moving. So if you can master balancing on the beam, then balancing the balls on the disc becomes way easier. Second takeaway is it's a lot easier to balance on the beam if you squat down a little bit. You may have noticed after I think it was after the first ball, so in the round when I was doing the 2, I started squatting a little bit. And then once I started with the 3rd, I was squatting and I had my hand on my leg for balance there. And that actually helped a lot with the balance beam. And if you look at it from a physics point of view, it makes sense, because what I'm doing when I squat down is I'm lowering my center of gravity. And the closer your center of gravity is to whatever you're trying to balance on, the easier it is to balance on that thing. So I wish I would have lasted a little longer once I had the 3 balls on there. That was a bit underwhelming. But this is definitely something that can be practiced, and the more you practice, the better you get. Currently, I don't think I'm going to be winning this challenge, but if I keep practicing like that, who knows? Anything is possible. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, please drop a like, and I would appreciate it if you would consider subscribing. And if you work for CBS, give me a call. Thanks, everyone.